Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
Create custom reports. And I open this. Now I have to give a name. CR_test. Report type will be advanced. Temporary report. I told you it will be deleted after 24-48 hours based on the settings. Enable as web service select. When you are using it for integrations, then for sure it has to be enabled. And optimize for performance. If it is checked, it will show only the data sources which are indexed. And if you want to see yours right, let's do this. Today, let's try something else. Let's use the data source of something. Nothing there. But better to use that for the other one. If you were using, what was that? All active, dominate. I click. And then we have a page where you can select the fields. Employee, then I have say date of birth. That's my point. Is our location. Location. And then we also saw that you can remove this worker and put company as well, and then you can have the ed, the reference id of the company. Similarly, you can have here location and you can have the location id or again the reference id for that. Let's say I want location type for this. This is just the same thing, the name, the field sorting your wish filter. Now let's say you want this report and you want all the employers which have hired it greater than. Or you say you got a requirement that create a report and tell us how many are the employees which are hired this year. That means what you will do is in filter. What will be our logic? That hire date should be greater than or equal to what to deliver 1/1/2022. Right? That means anyone hired which has a hire date of 1st January or after that is eligible for this. Now I click on and let's run, or I'll just test it. If you see, these are the persons and these are the hire date, all of them have after 1/1. Yep, and you can have multiple filters. There is no such thing that you can have only one condition here. You can have all conditions, like for example, you say this one, you can add another one and say location, location in the selection list, and you can choose right. Now, what is our condition? That all the employees hired after on or after 1/1/2022 and their location is this. Now we have a condition. If I now run it right, there is no data because there is no employee with such conditions right now. If I put instead of and I make it on and I make it on, and if I make it on and then I click on now, the data should come because now it's our condition. Everyone who's hired after or they have that particular location will come up. Yep, now if I do again an edit, you are clear with the filter prompt, this filter tab, right? It is used to add any filter. Now there is another thing here which is called sub-filter, right? If I have to ask you what is a filter, then your answer will be that filter is, do you know, just filter on the report output based on the fields which are part of the primary business object, right? All this hire date location and whatever you want to use here. If you are using a filter, then those fields should be part of the primary business object. In sub-filter, you can add condition based on the field, which are part of the field, that it is a type of field, which are what you want to use for the local business object. Like here you have location, company, you can have dependents and all those stuff, right? If you want to put a condition there, you can choose a related business object here first, let's say company, and I can put a condition here. Reference id equal to, you can give some value 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, right? That kind of thing. It's a very frequently asked question that when you create a custom report, what's the difference between a filter and a sub-filter, right? Filter is used to filter the results based on the fields which are part of the primary business object, and sub-filter is used for filtering the records based on the fields which are part of the related business object. Even though if you have used that related business object in the list of these fields or not, you can still add it there and undo your filtering. Yep, and sometimes they ask which one gets executed first, filter or sub-filter. We don't care about that, whatever happens. But ideally, the way Workday works at the back end is it first executes a filter and then it executes the filter. If you want to add more, you can add another one, right, for location, and you can add multiple. add another one. And if you click on this remove button, it will remove that, right? Clear about the difference between filter and subfilter. Now comes prompts. But before we go to prompts, let's see the other one, output. You don't do anything here. You don't touch it. Output type remains as stable, and that's it. There is nothing to be done in the output tab. Then comes the share tab, right? In the share tab by default, when you create a report, the default one is don't share report definition. This means that if you create this report, it is owned by you, the user with which you are logged in, and it is not shared with anyone. That means if you search for it, only you will be able to see it. If I search with the report name that you have created, it will not be visible to me because it's not shared within. If I click on this share with all authorized users, then what will happen is all the users which have access to this data source, right, as part of Workday security. If they have access to this data source, which is all active and terminated worker, plus they have this view, custom report and all that custom report type of permissions, then they will be able to see, meaning all the users which have the proper rights of this data source and of custom report running, editing, they will be able to view and edit this report. Then the last option here is share with specific authorized group and users. In this one, you can specify either a security group. All the users which are part of that group will be able to view this report, or you can share it with a very specific user right. A very common use case. Whenever we create, what we do is we click on this share with all authorized data right. And if, say, the report is to be some business, user has asked you to create a report which should give basic employee information with some filter condition, and he says that you share it with me, that I should be able to run it on a daily basis, that I will do this. In that case, you will create this and then share it with the very specific user. Like say, if I want to share it with a very specific user, then I will do like this now, I or this employee, only these two people will have access to this report. Then comes the Advanced tab. Right in the Advanced tab again, it only makes sense when you enable this. Enable as web service. If say, when we created this report, then we got that option right and we didn't select that. But later on, if you say by mistake forgot, and now you want to make this report as web service enabled, you will just come and enable this one here, and that's it. This thing will auto-populate the web service API version and the namespace, and that's it. Now it says, whenever you enable the report as web service, what happens is, whenever you have used this related business object, there is an extra thing that you need to add those related business object here. If you just click on this, it will just show only those two. You have to just declare them, that's it. If you click on, it will save. Basically all these are like select queries, right? Selecting data, right, for group buying and all. In case of for any integrations, for example, if a file comes in, if you have to insert the data and write, that's not via reports, that's separate. That's via web service, that's separate. This is just extracting data. This is like basically select data view, selecting me correct. And then what? One thing which I also want you to show is, let me see if it has dependent data right. And then it does. It happens say very frequent, a very common use case. Say, if you want to select a field and you want to read its direction, its description, there are these three dots, right? If you see this, any all locations, and you want to know what will this field do? Click on that, and here is the description that it returns all locations for workers. Primary and additional positions include both active and inactive locations. Let's click on alerts you can ignore and run. There is no dependent data, there is location type and other location. Now, what I want to show here is there are some fields which will have only one value, like legal name, employee id, right? Each employee will have only one employee id. These type of fields are called single instance field, meaning only one value. But there are fields like dependents. There are fields like these types and locations, right, which can be multiple. Like you see here, there are two local office and training centers, right? These are multi-instance field. Now this is fine. I hope you have understood till this part. We are left with one which is prompts. Now say the user wants user which have earlier told you that I want the report with all the employees which are hired on or after 1/1/2022. But now that user says don't hardcode the date. Give me an option that when I run the report at that time I should choose the date and then it should give me the result, meaning I want it dynamic. Right? I don't want the report every time. Go and edit the report and change the date and then run it. Instead, it should give me an option at the time of running the report, right? In that case, these prompts come into picture. Let me remove this location part here. Now you have to focus on this part, how I'm making it dynamic. Right now, we have a condition that hired it greater than or equal to value specified in this filter, which is 1/1/2022. Now, if you have to change and make it dynamic the comparison type, let's see what all values are here. Here it says value from another field. Or prompt the user for value and then prompt the user for value and ignore the filter condition if the value is black. Right? It's pretty descriptive here. Let's use this one, prompt the user for the value, and the comparison value has by default becomes a default prompt. Now that's it. This is the modification that we have to do in the filter tab and then in the prompts. We come here and I will just check this one which says populate undefined prompt defaults. I will just click on that and it will automatically bring it up. Hired, it is the default prompt. Label for the prompt alias XML. This is for the web service thing, and default type is determine value at runtime and then no default value, right? Let's keep it like this, right? And you can make it as required or not required. Do not prompt at runtime. You can even give that option. In that case, what you will do is you will specify a default value, right? Let me do it one by one. First, I will say no default value and I click on. Now, if I run it, it will ask me a date, hire date. If I choose 01/0/10/2022 and click on now, it will run only for this date. Let's choose another one. One is this rest all of 32. If I give 3, 2, then only I should get 7 records. Let me say 03, our prompt is working. Now, if you run, then always this is coming as blank, right? You have to enter it now. If I have to specify a default that I don't, I should not be giving it every time. Edit, go to your prompts, and then here it says no default value. Now you specify your default. Now you hit 01/2022. Now, if you click on and if you run now, it will default this value, but you can change it. It gives this value. You can directly run it or you can change it. If I give here 03 and I can do that. Now there is another one. The user says whenever I'm running that report, it should give me that date, meaning if I'm running it today, it should show there 18th of April. If I'm running it tomorrow, the prompt should show me 19th of April. How we will do that is in the prompt. Instead of specify default value, we will give this third option, which is determine default value at one time. And here you can say today, you have all these Workday delivered fields today, today, today plus 1, today minus X days, and all that stuff. We can even create our own such kind of fields, but that is our next topic. Let's do it today, and I click on. Now the date will come as today's date, which is 14th of April. If I run nothing, will come any questions. Yes, no, these are predefined values today. And you also have current moment. Can we do it like in skulls we do, right, since date -1 or +1 something? Can we even do that? You have today +1. You have today +1 day, that kind of stuff you have, and you can create your own. That we will see tomorrow. But then this is this one. Now you can. What I can do is I can say default value at runtime and let me give today, and I can put select here do not prompt at runtime. Now what will happen is I'll click on, and if I run it, it will not ask me for the value because I have selected this, do not prompt. Now if I run it, it will directly run, and that's it reason because we have selected do not prompt. Edit. Let's go to prompts, and then you can remove this one, make it, and you can make it required as it will be available here. Now let's say the user again has come back with a new requirement. He says I want right now. The condition is I am giving a value and anything any person's hired on or after that date is coming up. Now he says I want a range I should give from date and to date and whoever is hired on or in between. That should be there in the report. Yep, in that case, what we will do? we have to put a condition here in the filter saying hire date greater than or equal to and prompt user for value. Yes, because we have to prompt it. Instead of default prompt, let's give another value. You can give any value here, but since it's to and from, I prefer to give. This is my starting prompt. Then again the same date. And now here again is greater than less than. I have greater than or equal to and less than, again value specified in filter. No, we want the user to prompt. I said prompt user for value and here I will give ending. Now I have two prompts, one is starting and one is ending. Now again we'll go to prompts and whatever you have here, you just delete it and again just click on this. Populate undefined prompt default. As you do it, it will populate that. And now you can change the label, right, like you say. This one is from date. This one is to date similar. Here to underscore date and here from. This is no default value, or let me say a default value. Let me specify 0, 1, 20, 22 and this one I will give that ending prompt. I will say determine default value at runtime and I will say today and I will make both of them required. Click on and run. Now it is asking me from date and to date. I can change whatever I want and then if I run, it will only give me that particular clear on prompts. Yes, no, yes, yes. Now will you be able to create these reports? You should be able to. Now we have seen these. What I edits, let's say if we want to give some prompts or another thing, let me go edit right filter again. Let's say I want on location as well. Location frequently used in the selection list and instead of value specified, I will say from the user for value. And here I will say default prompt. Now you go to prompts and then again check this. Now your default prompt will come up. Find no default value, keep it. And now if you run, it will give you that prompt as well. Location you can choose. Let me choose. What was that? Melbert, click on and then you get all this. Now let's see. Let's move to the next topic, fairly complex one and all that. Where now the business user which gave you this requirement, right? There is another system, say an external system is there, which is saying that that system needs the same data, but in an XML format, and he needs a web service. Meaning, let's see if we can get the link. We should give him a link. He should call that link in his web browser, give the user a password, and that's it. He should get the data now to do this stuff. If, say, you are using any other app like PeopleSoft, Oracle, SAP, anything, what do you think? We will have to write a code and do some build, right? How much time will it take? Approximate, I think, based on the parents they need. We have to create SMIL and then we need to expose those right? Right? You are from PeopleSoft background. No, I am from Java. Right, in Java also, when you say you have to create, say you have a query, right, which gives you data. Now you have to expose that as a web service. It takes time, right? Yes, you need to write some code and all that code. Now, that's where I love Workday the most. Now say we have created this report, right, which is fairly simple. Anyone can do it. Now the same data has to be exposed as web service, right? We have to make sure that in the advanced tab, we have enabled this as a web service now. Now that's it. Now it will take 30 seconds to expose it as a web service. You click on this related action, go to web service, click on view roles, and you select your like. This is just that parameter you will get. And now you have all these options. If the vendor says I want a JSON web service, that when I call that web service, it should give me JSON data, then what do? Is you copy this URL and give it to him. If he says I want CSV data, you copy this URL and give it to him. If it says he wants some Google data related stuff, you get it. If he wants res, which is, I think, for showing it on a mobile screen and all those kind of stuff right there, you just copy this URL, give it to him. If it's a simple XML, right, let's try with this SML. The vendor says I want SML using the web service. You copy this URL right now. I will open another incognito tab and then hit paste enter. Now it is asking me this password. I will give them the password, and that's it. You got the data right, and then you just click on that. Where is this? Say like copy all, and then I will put that, and then the JSON got downloaded. It right? Let me show it up. This is where it came out, all that data. These were our fields and it came up. That's how simple Workday's, even this technical part of kind of exposing it as a web service is just a 30 seconds job, no coding. I'm having one query here. If we take this as a reverse, as you mentioned, that if we want to expose it, we have to create a user and need to provide that, let's say, from Workday. Via integration, it goes to some other app which is consuming and we want to see the response. Like we are trying to debug something or we wanted to, if there is some failure or something. While seeing the response, if we will ask them to share the same thing, right, for seeing that. Do we need username, password, like for us as a Workday? Like, we have sent the request and some app is consuming and we notice that there is some issue. We wanted to know whether now they will. It is from our side. That service is exposed now and they are calling that service correct. They are going to consume it. Call it whatever error if they get. They will get that error in their system and then they will have to reach out to us that we are facing this error because we will not be able to know from our side. It's just a service which is exposed. If they are facing any issue while calling that service and all that, then they have to let us know. In Workday, we will not be able to know that what error they are getting unless they tell us this is the error. Sorry, yeah, I got your point. My question was there only like a when, what actually they would be sending to us. Let's say they got the error. It would be the same smell format, only same response will be like, it will be general error like authentication error or authorization error, that kind of stuff. Will come up sure what? That was the sharing of report which is done via this related action web service and view all, and that's it. Now let's see what are the other options we have. One is this configure alert. That means that when you run this report, write run frequency, you can schedule it to kind of a run and it will alert you in your way you will get. The alert is here. You see this bell icon like document is available. What will happen is this integration will run and this kind of data will be available. A kind of a CSV file or an Excel file will be available. Let's see that. For searching our report acre_text, which is this one. If you see there are, one is report and one is report definition. If you click on the report, it will directly run it. If you click on the report definition, it will open it. It will open the report like this. Let me go here, custom report configure alert. This is the name. I will say run now. It will ask you to whom do you want to alert. Right, this report has parameters. You have to specify the parameters, what it should be, the from date to date, location, and then recipient who should get the alert, and then it can also send an email. Right, you can write the subject and then the body and then click on. What will happen is when this report will run, once it completes, it will send a kind of this alert to them right from an integration point of view. We don't use this because our reports are used for integrations. We don't create reports for any user as such. That's a separate team, that's functional team, which will do that. That was configure alert. Then you have copy, which we have seen. Maintain Excel template is not used. You can attach a template and I think this report will run and populate that. But I have never used it and not the very frequent use case that you will do. See, if you have a schedule, then you have run, then you have schedule. Schedule is, you can put a schedule here like, say I want this for a daily recurrence, right? You click on daily recurrence, click on, and then you choose. First you give the report parameters and then in this schedule you can choose every weekday or every say. If I give it every 2, that means every 3 days and then you give the time. I choose 7 est and then start. When do you want to start it? I want it to run from tomorrow till end of this year or end of this month. What will happen is once you click on this, recurrence will start executing based on the criteria which you have given here. Every 3 days, 7 est and it will execute on its own. You don't have to manually run the report. That's scheduling a report. We have similar feature on integration. This is the same for reporters. Yep, here on scheduling, we never use schedule reports for integration. But this is good to know feature. Then you have this test, which will give only first 10 instance of the report. Then you have transfer ownership right. Now, if you see here in the share tab, who is the report owner, I am the report owner because I have created it. Now say I want to transfer this ownership to another user. I can do by clicking on transfer ownership, and I can specify any other user, right? You can specify, click on. And once I click on, what will happen is right now I'm moving a discard, but this is report owned by a will change. That's on that. And then we have, then it is delete audit. For any report or any object in Workday, if you want to see what has happened, who created it, who did the update, who modified it. This is the option. This is there for every business object view audit trail. Click on that. Give the date range, like say I want to give from 1st of Jan 2022 till now. Who has done on this report? Nothing has happened on this report because we created it today, but you get a full sequence of the things. What happened on this object? Calculated fields. That's the next topic, favorites. You can add this report as your favorite one. Integration id. View id is every object in Workday has an id reference id. For this report, this is the id by default. Whatever name you give becomes the id. Then what else do we have? Layout. Layout, again, we don't use it. Reporting is again nothing here. Schedule feature processes no copy. Alert solution create. Solution create is for migrating this report to another tenant. Right? We will see that as part of integrations. But apart from that, translations, you don't use it. That's it. This is the high level and which is needed for the integrations for creating an advanced report. Now, this doesn't mean that this is the last time we are seeing a custom report. We will be seeing it very frequently in the coming sessions again, when we will be doing the calculated things. Next topic will be calculated fields. There again, we will create now what our calculated fields is suppose. Right, we run this report and I click on again. I have to think here. Now if you see the here, the data is in very specific format. However, like whatever data is in Workday will come up like this. You see the higher date is this format meme /deed/I. But say the other system to whom you are exposing it as a web service needs it in some other format, right? Or say employee id. The system wants that you append _test. Then they want only the first 5 digits of this reference id. Or they want only whatever is there after any specific after the underscore right. All these kind of things can be done using the calculated field, which we will do it, which will start tomorrow. Cool. Then have a nice rest of the day. Take rest first you. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.